that's even worse. Okie and I are camping together. Come here. Where are you? Ocus. Come here. You're always in my face all the time. Hello. Hello. I know I'm only staying here for one night, but do you ever just feel really unsafe in a situation? I just have the weirdest negative vibes. Wow, what the heck is that? What is that? I left for a moment, and then Okie started freaking out. Like, he just won't stop sniffing this area, and he started pointing at this tree. And yeah, what is this? Does anyone know? Just wanted to apologize to anyone that finds this video and asks to watch my terrible acting. Hello, thank you for coming to today's episode of why I think the Blair Witch Project deserves more respect. And I'm here to tell you why, obviously. Before I talk about the film itself, I just want to talk about how horrifying this was to experience in the 90s. I was 8 years old when this film was released, and I remember everyone on the playground talking about the Blair Witch. I remember gossiping with my friends and just saying, oh my goodness, did you hear about the Blair Witch? And just running with that idea that the Blair Witch was going to get you. And besides kids being freaked out by it, adults were as well. And I think that's so incredible, because a year before the movie was released in 1999, they've been working on creating this folklore, this urban legend, this real life fear that the Blair Witch was real, and that Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael C. Williams were actual missing people. Freaky, right? I mean, if you erase all of the knowledge that you have learned from the past 20 years and just focus on what the times were like back then, this was huge.
And I think that's part of what makes it interesting even now to come out and have people say, oh my God, you're alive. You know?
Right.
That sort of adds a nice element to it, rather than people always knowing from the very beginning it's a hoax, it's, you know.
So, first of all, before they even filmed the movie, they wanted to only find independent actors, people that weren't well known. And so they did find, as mentioned before, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, and Michael C. Williams. I don't believe they were in a lot of things, if any big films at all. And so their whole role was to be these film students creating a documentary about the Blair Witch for school. So I guess let's go back to the actual plot itself. It's about these 3 students in university needing to create this documentary for school about the Blair Witch.
We're doing a documentary about the Blair Witch.
Oh,
Have you heard of the Blair Witch?
oh yeah, that's an old story.
The actors actually had to completely improvise everything. They were camping in the woods for 6 days, interviewing locals in Maryland for 2. And it was just crazy to think that there was no script at all. And when they were interviewing the locals, some were actors, some were actual local people living in the area, and the actors didn't know anything about who was real, who wasn't. And then they were given little GPS trackers to go to different locations, and there were buckets with little film canisters addressed to each of the actors, and they weren't allowed to share what was written on that instructional piece of paper in the container.
There would be our initials on each one. We were only allowed to look at our instructions. We weren't allowed to show them to each other. And then for the next, say, 2, 3, 4 hours, we would just follow that direction until we hit the next waypoint where we would get further instructions.
And from there, you just had to take it and improv the lines.
Exactly.
Okay.
We improved all the dialogue. We did things beyond what we were given in those notes, in that story structure that the directors had already mapped out. And that was part of the appeal, that
Right.
you can create these characters and you can take them anywhere you want to go because video is cheap.
When they were camping, they were harassed by the film crew, so a lot of their fear was real. Let's talk about the marketing aspect, because as mentioned, these actors were completely new to the scene. They were told not to appear in anything for a year, and that was to keep up with the illusion that these people were actually missing or dead. And even a year before this film was released, they were creating a website. You can still visit blairwitch.com today, and it looks exactly like it did back in 1999, which is kind of fun to take a trip down memory lane. But just imagine hearing about the Blair Witch from a friend, and you decide to do research on your own, and then as you're researching from Google or wherever, you see this website pop up giving you details not only about the Blair Witch, but about these people that went missing, trying to document the very myth you are trying to research. The website made everything feel even more authentic, because I remember as a kid watching America's Most Wanted and going on the website and reading about missing people, and they would oftentimes put a little informational blurb about the individual and photos of them. And this is what this website was. You saw their childhood photos, their photos from the movie stills of their last moments on Earth or the last moments they were seen. And it just gave them such a human element to everything, like you knew them in real life and you really wanted to find them. And this website was great for armchair detectives because you could look at evidence that you thought was real, or read the final moments in Heather's journal, or listen to discovered footage or audio.
What's your take on the Blair Witch at this point? Do you think she exists?
I don't know.
And if we're all honest with ourselves, we're all pretty nosy people by nature. Some have more self-control than others, but imagine being able to see inside of Heather's journal, talking about how her classmates are annoying or how scared she is. There's just something exciting about being able to read someone's personal life and their secret thoughts. Now let's get into the movie itself. Do I think it's a perfect movie? Not at all. I still had the privilege of being able to watch this movie during the hype of its folklore and its fear and its mythology, you know? So that being said, I absolutely loved this movie when I was a kid because I was convinced that it was actual found footage. But now that I've rewatched it as an adult, I think it's so boring, if I'm going to be honest. I think there were a lot of excellent build-ups to it, but then during parts it's just kind of like watching or spying on people that are having really bad arguments and you shouldn't be there. But I did love the interviews with the local people, and I remember just absolutely cracking up at how amazing the mom was holding her kid.
And they disappeared off the face of the earth.
Really?
Okay, it's all right, Ingrid. I'm just telling a scary story, but it's not true.
It's not true.
That was so fun. I don't know. I really loved aspects of it. I don't want to say the movie was bad because I don't think it's a bad film. I just think you have to be in a very specific mood to watch it. And yeah, there are just really slow moments. There were some really great moments, like when they find out that Heather lost the map, or, you know, one of her classmates getting really angry at her and just screaming. I felt that was so real. It made me uncomfortable. It made me feel so bad for Heather. And then, you know, her crying and her snot coming out. That's amazing. I mean, you saw my bad acting at the beginning of this video. Not great. But and then I do love the ending. So spoiler alert, skip here if you don't want this to be spoiled for you. But just having seen, oh my gosh, was it Joshua or Michael, I can't remember, but just standing eerily in the corner of that abandoned building or that house sent chills up and down my spine.
He took the kids down in the basement by twos, and he made one face into the corner.
Really?
And then he would kill the other one. And then when he was done with that, he'd grab the one out of the corner and kill that one too.
But overall, I mean, again, you have to be in a very specific mood to watch it. But I will share with you now my rating system. I have Fun at a Sleepover, I have Cinematic Masterpiece, and then I have Dumpster Fire. And I would rate this film Fun at a Sleepover because whether you hate it or you like it, you could either have a good time with your friends making fun of this movie and ripping it to shreds, or having a good time with your friends being spooked by the Blair Witch. Thank you so much for putting up with me ramble about the Blair Witch Project for an ungodly amount of minutes. But if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would so appreciate it. And if you want me to review a movie or talk about the history behind it, go ahead and comment that down below. And if you'd like to give me a subscribe, I would appreciate that, but you totally don't have to. You are your own person. Anyway, I will see you in the next video. Hopefully I will be more consistent. Thank you and have a lovely day.